Welcome to Talking Hail. It's Derek Ciapola with my partner in crime, Jared Tims. And we had a lot to cover in a short amount of time because we missed last series because, well, life happened. Couldn't get together. But here we are now. We got a lot to cover. Jared,
I am doing fantastic. I know you just froze a little bit there, but I'm doing fantastic. We had a lot of sports on today. Got the Masters, great finish coming up here. Anybody's watching that right now. Angels series. My brother started against UCLA, so fun Sunday of sports for me.
fun Sunday of sports. Sad Sunday if you like pitching and fantasy baseball. Justin Steele for the Cubs, out for the year. Garrett Crochet, nearly no hitter. And the Angels lose lose the series in Houston. Two games to one with a 7-3 loss today. Overall, Jared, it's been an interesting week. They take 2 out of 3 in Tampa. They lose 2 out of 3 in Houston. What do you take from this?
If you told me before the season that the Angels were going to split a series like this or two series like this on the road as well, I'd be pretty happy, especially taking a series in Tampa Bay. Almost felt like they could have taken the series in Houston as well. And well, I guess there's another three games in Texas that we'll probably talk about. But if you're telling me they're going 3-3 on the road against these two teams, which are perennial playoff teams every single year, have very good lineups, and in all honesty, we've seen some good pitching this series, these last two series as well. And the Angels have hit well, so I'm by no means upset by this. Did they lose their first series of the year? Yes, that sucks. It was going to happen at some point. I don't think the Angels were going to go lossless, undefeated, should I say, but when it comes to series. And I can guarantee you they'll win another series at some point this year. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they come back from this series in Houston in particular. I thought they bounced back well after game one where they lost 14-3. Then the bats kind of came alive there a little bit in game two. But again, for me, I mentioned this in the last episode that we did. The long ball seems to be where the Angels are doing a lot of their damage. They lead the majors in home runs with 30 home runs this year through the first five series. They need to get more runners on base. I'll say that. Like, I know you mentioned off the record that Mike Trout's batting one something. Uh,
196.
yeah, he's batting that. He's got six home runs. I would guess he's probably got seven RBIs would be my guess. I could totally be wrong, but they need to get runners on base in front of their power because a lot of guys have a lot of good power here, and I think that Zach Neto coming back hopefully this week, this beginning of this week, here in Texas would be huge for this lineup. But it's good to see the Angels hitting, good to see the Angels leading the league in home runs. I just think they need to get some guys on base to hit more than solo shots because they did it on Sunday here. They hit two solo shots early, and then Kyle Hendricks just couldn't quiet the Astros bats, and then we just kind of saw it fall apart a little bit. Not a horrible game by any means, but definitely a winnable game. It felt like. So yeah, they just need to get more runners on base in front of those guys hitting home runs. Easier said than done.
I mean, I'm gonna be your Nate today.
That's cool.
You're the optimist. We have, there's a lot to like. For 9-6, they lost their first series. They played 15 of the first 18 games on the road. Is what it's going to be. And right now they're 9-6. They're guaranteed to end this stretch with at least a 500 record. Even if they go to Texas and get swept, they're going to have a 500 record at the end of this stretch. I didn't expect that. I didn't expect that at all. But if we're going to be a little bit critical on where the team is, you're pointing at it. You're talking about it in that they need to get more runners on. It's more than that. You got to make contact. 16 strikeouts today against, including Hayden Wesneski, like a journeyman from Chicago to Houston, who was brought in as a fifth starter, who often is just basically your classic fantasy streamer, and that's it. He got 10 strikeouts today against these guys. He doesn't have great stuff, has good stuff, but not great stuff. Angels aren't swinging the ball. I mean, swinging the bat well. They're making contact for power, and that's it. And they're not making contact for contact right now. And that's concerning because if you look at who they've played thus far, there's some decent pitching in there. but they haven't played the best pitching in the league yet. And if they don't get the contact side squared away, some rougher days are coming. And that's my real concern. Just watching today was frustrating, not because they lost in Houston. Again, we didn't get our predictions, and I'm pretty sure all three of us would have taken Houston to take 2 out of 3 or something like that in the series. I mean, you have to kind of get used to beating Houston before you say they're going to beat Houston. So I would have gone 2 out of 3 for Houston. I'm sure Nate would have. I'm guessing you would have, or close to it. Am I
Yeah,
wrong?
I probably would have. Let me clap
Yeah.
back. Let me clap back here a little bit at you at stats. The Angels have a 23% strikeout rate this year, which 23.3, which is 12th in the majors, 12th highest in the majors. They came into it with a 22% walk strikeout rate, so definitely went up today. On base percentage, they're in definitely in the bottom tier there. They're 20th with a 302 on tied with the Orioles with a 302 on base percentage. They have a 113 WRC plus, so off hitting wise, they're hitting above average. That's eighth in the majors, WRC plus wise. But yeah, and they're not really striking out all that much. It's not like, I mean, Colorado's striking out 29% of the time, and that's the highest in the league. So it's
But
not
hold on.
horrible, but yes,
You said
today
you're
they did.
clapping back, but you just made my point on overall, like strikeouts is including contact though, and the contact is what I was pointing at.
Hmm.
Like
It's not
that's
like
what I'm going
it's
to.
not like it's been horrible though. Like coming, yes, today, Sunday, they struck out 16 times, but coming into the series, they're middle of the pack in strikeouts. It's not like they're striking out 40% of the time or something crazy like that, and then hitting a home run 60% of the time or anything like that. I mean,
I
it's
mean,
it's it's not horrible by any means. There are worse teams that are striking out. I mean, I can look at batted ball and see what their contact rate is and things like that. But yeah, they're definitely not horrible by any means.
but what I'm saying is they have to be better. Like they can't go out there against average Joes and strike out 16 times. You can't. You can't. You're not going to win that way.
No,
And
no, not by any means.
you can't live and die by the long ball. Although it's fun. It's fun to see them. Basically 3 home runs a game. It's fun, but it's not fun watching them swing it and swing. But and by the way, a lot of the strikeouts today weren't swinging type. A lot of it was them looking, which isn't normal. Like a lot of times you talk about a team that strikes out a lot, it's because they're swinging and missing. Today it was there were some swings, but there were definitely a lot of just staring and staring at bad pitches and hittable pitches. And that's what's frustrating me overall.
Yeah, I mean, if this trend continues, for sure, it's definitely going to be something that's going to hurt the Angels in the long run, and that's I guess a byproduct of the home run ball. I mean, you can hit the home run ball. Like one thing I did notice, Taylor Ward hits the home run on the up and in pitch,
Hmm.
first at bat of the game, and then he goes down looking on the exact same pitch that he hit a home run on later in the game. It's like, what did you hit that pitch out? You hit it out of the stadium, off the train. What are you looking for in this next at bat? I mean, obviously different pitches and things like that. And I'm sure he got pitched differently, but exact same pitch, exact same spot, went down looking the next at bat. Just in general, bad game on Sunday for sure. But like I said, a lot of positives to take away from this team right now. 9-6. Um, I'm sure that Nate would kill us if we didn't mention Kyron Paris because that's the only thing that he's been texting us about is Kyron Paris. So
True.
yeah, I mean a lot of good positive things to take away from the Angels right now. And they're getting arguably their best player back from last year, and he hasn't even been in the lineup yet. In Zach Neto, and he'll be coming back hopefully within the next week. So yeah, I'm pleasantly surprised. I'm not gonna buy it. Not buying it yet by any means. Give me until June. June 1st. If the Angels are still, a couple games over 500, then it's like, all right, maybe everybody should start paying attention to the Angels. But they're not losing bad games. They're not losing bad games. They're losing games for sure. They're not losing bad games, and they're winning good games. Is if that makes sense. Like I know all winning is good winning, but like they're not going out and shooting themselves in the foot like we've seen them do in the past, or like in the White Sox series where it felt like we complained the entire time about, yeah, they won 2 of 3, but they played poor quality baseball. It doesn't feel like they're playing bad quality baseball right now. They're
No, they're
playing
not.
they're playing good baseball. They're just in the games that they're losing, they're just getting beat.
They,
Um, so
they don't have the luxury of a margin of error. So they have to have everything pretty close to right in order to win, and they've been doing that. And they don't have the arm talent or the field talent right now to be able just to get away with it. Question for you though, honest question, just pondering it. And I know last year before Mike Trout got hurt, he was hitting around 220, was still hitting the ball hard when he made contact. Is this the Mike Trout we know now? Mike Trout before a couple years ago was a career 300 hitter. You
Great,
know, and
great question. I actually had some stats on that that I was going to try to bring up for you, and I'm going to bring them up right now that I
well, I
posted
was
on.
ahead of the game then. All right.
I know you were. So Mike Trout's last 10 games, he's batting 256 with a 370 on base percentage and slugging 744 with a 201 WRC plus. He's got those 6 home runs. So he was off to a slow start for sure. And on this Sunday game, I don't think he played all that well either. But over the last 10, 11 games, he has been fairly good. He's not striking out a whole bunch either. In those 10 games, he was striking out 17% of the time. He has a 15% walk rate. So yes, could he make more could he make more contact? Absolutely. I would guess his BABIP's probably really really low right now, which is a sign of maybe a little bit of bad luck going on there for sure. So I expect some balls to start dropping in there, but to say that he is a 300 hitter still, I don't know if that's the case. You look at how many games he's played since 2020, and there aren't too many players out there that are going to be able to put up a 300 average after playing 200 games over a 4 year span or something, whatever he has played 250 games. So yeah, I think that can he can he hit 50 home runs? I still think he can hit 50
Yes.
home. I still think he can hit 50
Yes, he
home
can.
runs. Absolutely. Do I think he's going to bat 300 and go out and steal 40 bases anymore? Probably not. But I mean, I don't think anybody's upset if Mike Trout's batting 250, 260 on the year with 40 home runs and a 20% strikeout rate. That's still very, very productive. That's still probably a borderline MVP player, depending on what other players do. And yeah, I'm not upset by that by any means. I think he's having Jorge Soler batting behind him right now is humongous, and then having somebody batting behind Jorge Soler is even bigger for Mike Trout because then the everything ends up coming together a lot nicer. So as long as Jorge Soler is hitting well, and as long as Jorge Soler is healthy and batting behind Mike Trout, and able to play right field a little bit, because Mike Trout's actually hitting well as a DH this year. I think that yeah, if Mike Trout's a 260 hitter but a 200 WRC plus guy, I'm by no means upset by that, and I think that is probably about what we see him be. I think that he's more of a 140 WRC plus guy now. I don't think we see him as a 170 WRC plus guy, but yeah, I think that he could be. I think he's better than what his overall stats are this year. If that, I know you say he's a 100, 186 hitter this year. I think he's gonna. I think he's getting a little. I
196.
think he's getting a little unlucky. He's not striking out nearly as much. I think that he's putting the ball in play. He's still getting walked a lot. Still making hard contact. I just think he's hitting it at guys right now.
The thought that comes to mind is Albert Pujols. And they're always going to have that comparison because they have similar contracts. One thing is different is Pujols signed his contract a couple years later in his career. The Pujols, until he signed with the Angels, every year was 300. He was a 300 average, was still had 300 average all the way into the last couple of years of his career. And then as the injuries compiled, especially with the legs, more holes developed in his swing. And that's what I'm kind of wondering is happening with Mike Trout. I'm not saying it is. I'm just kind of pondering it. I'm just kind of like going through it and seeing, are we seeing that aging process really hit, or is it just you need better bats in the lineup? Maybe Zach Neto coming back will provide a little more coverage in the lineup because he's more of a threat. Maybe that's the case, but I mean, you can't you don't live forever. You don't play forever, and sooner or later we're going to see that that diminishing of skills, and they're coming. Right, age comes for us all.
I don't think Albert Pujols is a fair comp for him. I think Albert Pujols was a better pure hitter than Mike Trout. Um, if you look at the stats, if you look at Albert Pujols in his heyday, I think he's a better hitter than Mike Trout. I think Mike Trout's a better athlete than Albert Pujols, and I think that Mike Trout ages better than Albert Pujols did. I mean, if you want to point the finger, the obvious one's King Griffey Jr., but I don't think that's fair either. Um, So I just
And
think that
Ken Griffey had some really solid years at the end of his career as well. I'm simply talking about, I'm not talking about how skilled this was or this was. I'm just talking about injuries and the effect of age. I'm not talking about anything else. I'm not trying to take away from either player. Like I said, age comes for us all. I'm not making any other comparison other than that.
I mean, with what I just said, I think Albert Pujols is a better pure hitter, so that worries me a little bit more for Mike Trout. But at the same time, I think that Mike Trout is a better athlete, which votes better for Mike Trout. There's two different arguments there, in particular. So yeah, I do get what you're saying. I don't know. Ask me again in July if Mike Trout's still healthy and he's batting. We'll see what he's doing then. I think that we need to see a Mike Trout like full season, a
I
healthy
mean,
full season to see
I mean, I
what he
would
is
honestly
now.
just be if like you're talking about 260. If he was just healthy and hitting 250 with 15 home runs in the All-Star break, that's go that's going to be almost a 30 home run season if he makes it all the way through. That's a good year.
The reason why I say the end of June is because June, I think statistically is always Mike Trout's best year, and I don't think he's played in June in quite some time. So I want to know what he is after June because that's when Trouty gets hot. That's when he gets going. So yeah, I want to see Mike Trout healthy July 1st and see what those stats are then, and see what happens around that time.
All right, so looking ahead here to the Texas series, well, before we go there, here's a word from our sponsors. All right, 3 games in Texas, beginning with Tuesday, April 15th. Right now, the pitching matchup looks like Patrick Corbin for Texas with a 6.75 ERA 0-0 versus UC, I can't talk, Kikuchi 0-2
Yeah.
5 ERA. It's an 8 o'clock Eastern start, 5 o'clock Pacific. Um, that's Tuesday, Wednesday pitching matchup for the Angels and Rangers. Another 8 o'clock, 5 o'clock start. Jose Soriano versus Tyler Mahle. 2.7 ERA and 2-1 record for Jose Soriano. Tyler Mahle, 2-0, 1.32 ERA. And then the really interesting matchup is Jake DeGrom, apparently on the mound against Jack Hanowitz. That's another 8 o'clock start on Thursday, April 17th. That's the 3 game set. What are you looking forward to? I can tell you. I think you probably just tell from what I'm looking forward to. What are you looking forward to?
Yeah, I mean, if we want to go serious, game by game here, former Angel farmhand Patrick Corbin going. I like the Angels to win that. It's gonna come. Let's see how you say Kikuchi starts that game. If he can start that game off well, he hasn't really started games off too hot. If he can start that game off well, I think the Angels can take that. Um, Game two, I think it's going to be kind of a coin flip there, but I like the Angels taking that game as well. And then game three, I mean, how do you go against Jake DeGrom? That's always fun to watch a healthy Jake DeGrom pitch. I mean, one of the best pitchers, if not the best pitcher in baseball when he is healthy. So I think I'm gonna have Texas taking that game, but it's gonna come down to the Angels' offense. It can come down to the bats and seeing if the new Globe Life has not treated the Angels all that well. I feel like um, in recent years. Now, if you go to the ballpark in Arlington, those games were a lot more fun, but this series definitely worries me at Globe Life just because the ball doesn't fly there, and the Angels are very heavily reliant on the home run ball. So this Angels pitching staff needs to be very good, very efficient until they come back home against San Francisco after that. But yeah, we shall see where it takes us there. Right now, if the Angels starting pitchers can start off well and throw well, I think they take 2 of 3. If they don't, and the Angels offense doesn't get going, could be a long series. We could see them going back home 9-9. So we'll see.
Pick one. You're
What?
straddling the fence here. Which
What?
one's it going to be?
I told you. I said they're taking 2 of 3, but I think that there's a lot of different things that can happen there.
Okay, so you are officially saying 2 out of 3. All right,
Yeah.
for the Angels.
Yeah.
I got the Rangers taking 2 out of 3. Um, You said a lot of it. They don't play well in Globe Life. You have Jacob DeGrom at the back end of it. Although he hasn't pitched great yet. 4.3 ERA, 1.3 WHIP. Jake DeGrom is interesting. He hasn't played a full season since 2019. That's very interesting. Well, 2020, if you count 2020 with the shortened season, but a full 102, 32 starts, hasn't gone over 200 innings since 2019. That's a lot of time. So he's gonna be interesting to watch this season. I have Texans winning 2 out of 3, not because I'm down the Angels, just it's all about the matchups.
I got the Nate one here because I know
What,
what he
what,
would I
what
know
did
I
he
know what
send
he would
in?
I know he didn't send anything in, but I know what he'd say. He'd agree with you. He'd say Kikuchi is gonna not pitch very well. He'd also say the Angels aren't gonna hit very well. He'd say they take the middle set and then DeGrom's gonna shove it down their throat. That's what Nate would say. That's pretty Nate-like, right?
Some pretty Nate like. Although, I'm very doubtful of my own prediction. I mean, Texas is playing well, but they're not really hitting their stride yet, hitting wise.
Yeah.
They're 24th in the batting average, 24th in runs. They're 16th in earned run average. They're not playing great baseball yet. So if there's a chance to get them, it's now.
All I know is for these predictions that I'm winning right now, and Nate
You're
hasn't gotten
winning.
one right. Nate has not gotten one right, and that's a good feeling here. It's a good
And by
feeling
the
in this
way,
household.
the Rangers have the Dodgers next weekend. And I think didn't at least one of us predict a Dodgers Rangers World Series?
I think I did. I don't know.
Yeah, so that's gonna be an interesting series. All right. Injury notes. Zach Neto on his way. We mentioned him earlier. Starting first full series in Salt Lake City this weekend. The predictions looking true this week is what it's looking like, right? In Texas.
Yep. Yep. I actually originally had thought it was going to be at the beginning of this week, but they really halted him down a little bit there. So, yeah, he played his first full game today in Salt Lake. At least that's what I was told he was going to do. So I have not checked the score there to see if they took him out. It was the eighth inning and they hadn't taken him out, so I'm going to guess he played the entire game there at shortstop, which is good. Good news, Angels fans.
Okay. Ben Joyce to the IL. Moncada to the IL. So two guys who are key part of this team. Moncada with his thumb, Ben Joyce with his shoulder. Can you update us most on Ben Joyce first?
Yeah, it didn't sound horrible. I know there was a little bit of velo ticked down. I think he was throwing 99 miles an hour. So if my velo ticked down to 99 miles an hour, that'd be really, really cool. I think they said that he played catch the day after. It was just normal soreness. He came out the day after that he played catch and he was like, it still doesn't feel right. They shut him down. Anybody like that, that's going to throw that hard, you're going to be expecting some shoulder, something in the arm to, be inflamed and things like that. But no other word than that at the moment. So we'll wait it out. We'll see how it goes. Hopefully it's just a 10 day. No, it's 15 day. I think pitchers have to go on the 15-day IL. So cross your fingers. It's only 15 days.
I mean, it's a big concern. It's still early in the year. So just want to point it out
Yeah.
early in the year for this. All right. Moncada,
Yeah. I mean,
the look on my face says it all,
what?
right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm going to continue all season to point at the contract. 1 year, $5 million. I'm not horribly concerned. It sucks and everything like that. But you look at his previous track record. There's a lot of injury history there, and this doesn't surprise me that he already goes on the IL. However, I would love the Angels to have handled this a little bit better and not pushed. I know he probably pushed it, but I would prefer them, not push the opening day series against the White Sox that he was going to play in that. Just instead start him on the IL, get him healthy, get him ready to go, and then go from there. Because he wasn't 100% healthy coming into opening day and things like that. I'm sure a lot of people weren't, but when we're talking about him being close to the IL, I would have preferred him to start the season off on the IL and then be, playing fully healthy right now. Because it's a big piece. I mean, he's shown decent defense at third base. He's a decent bat in the order, somebody that can protect. I mean, he's a decent 6, 7, 8 hole hitter. That when he gets going, can be a potential all-star, but he needs to stay healthy. He needs to stay on the field for that to happen. So we'll see.
All right. Anything else to close with today?
Ooh, no, no, nothing really. Jose Suarez isn't on the Angels anymore, so at some point we'll stop talking about that. But
I already have.
I'll keep bringing it up. I think it's still funny. But yeah, I'm excited. Angels playing good baseball right now. I know they just lost their first series and everything, but playing good baseball. I'm pleasantly surprised, pleasantly happy with what they're doing right now. I know everybody can complain about Ron Washington, complain about the bullpen usage, all this, that, and another, but to say the Angels started off, you know, 9-6 to start the season off. I don't think anybody was going to predict that. That wasn't on anybody's bingo cards. So definitely hope they can take 2 or 3 in Texas and then come back home. And they're going to play a very good San Francisco Giants team as well.
You know, I remember last year a lot. Just I'm here in Ohio, got him on MLB TV. I might be outside in the yard listening to the radio. And it was not fun. It wasn't fun to
What?
listen to the Angels last year or watch Angels last year. For all that's going on with the team right now, with all the expectations that they don't have, and they don't have. I mean, I'm standing by my expectation of about 75 wins, but I'm very much refreshed in how the team is playing. They're playing hard. They are they're fun to watch. Last year's team was just awful to watch. And that's part of what the great thing about baseball is a new year every year. And all I ever wanted was to see growth. And I think we are seeing some growth in this team, in this franchise, and hopefully ownership gets on board that in the future. So, hey, how's that for positive to end the show?
Good job. I think we're a lot less negative today. I really like it.
All right, follow Jared on X at Jared_Timmons. Follow me at DC Paula. Don't bother with Nate. He left us today. Okay, Nate
Yeah,
34.
he's in
Or
Hawaii. Don't even give him the benefit of the doubt. He's in Hawaii coaching, so don't. He's
all
fine. That's why he
right,
doesn't get a that's why he doesn't get a pick this week either, or the next couple days. He can sit down there at 0-3 in our
he
predictions
is
game.
0-3.
Yeah, he can sit there all he wants. He can text us all he wants and complain and say that he's picked stuff, but that ain't happening. He's got to be on this show to predict it.
There you go. Follow us on X. Talking Halos. Send us your messages. Let us know what you're thinking. We're out of here.